Hey there, Shrine Runners! Hello, and welcome to the Fox Shrine. I'm Araxis, your host, and tonight we're going to be playing some more stories from Soul, the Gun Dog. Hey there, Kuro. Hey Ada. Hey Shoma. Welcome. Hope you're all doing alright. I'm doing reasonably well. I feel like I'm starting to come down with something. I took a little bit of a rest before the stream, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Still a bit under the weather. But I'm still excited to play this game, so that's why I'm going forward with it. Got the day off tomorrow anyway, even if I'm going out for dinner. So I think why not? We'll see how things go. If I feel like I'm starting to I feel a bit unwell, I'll call the stream early. But until then. I think it's fun. I think it'll be fine. Alright? So, let's get this stream underway, shall we? Alrighty then. Here we go. Alright. It's very, generic Ren'Py, start look, saving and loading screen. I suppose if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Alright. So, we were about to go and talk to the captain, weren't we? So, let's move to the bridge. I'm sure we're on time, right? As always, let me know how the audio is. But had no complaints last time, so I figure it's fine now. You step from the elevator onto the bridge, and what seems to have been a pretty quiet atmosphere turns totally silent, as the two women present, who had previously been observing a screen, turn to face you. You identify the captain almost immediately by her uniform, though you give given pause to wonder if you've misjudged, as she listlessly straightens up and heads over to you with an air of disinterest. You can always tell who the captain is because they're wearing the big hat, right? The other woman shoots you a look, but remains seated at her station, quickly turning away when she realizes you've caught her looking your way. You presume from her position on the bridge, she must be a member of operations like Cassandra. This must be the Vanessa she mentioned. The one who Cassandra keeps dumping work on. Yeah. Lieutenant Araxis Denacia, entering the bridge and reporting for formal assignment. You declare, throwing a sharp salute with Cassandra quickly following suit. Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn, entering the bridge in accompaniment of Lieutenant Denacia. You're taken aback slightly, as you realize that you've hardly ever seen Cassie be serious about anything, even in her position. Whenever she's had to talk about her assignments, it's always been dismissive or in a joking way. You're caught so off guard that you almost miss the captain addressing you. At ease, Lieutenant Commander. You and Cassie both lower your salutes and loosen your posture slightly. There's a slight pause, which you can tell is the captain sizing you up. This informal assessment lasts a little longer than you're comfortable with, till the captain releases a heavy sigh. Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. I was beginning to get worried that the notification we'd had that you'd come aboard had been a system issue. I was getting a tour of the ship, ma'am. I trust that you haven't had too hard a time finding your way to the bridge to introduce yourself. No, ma'am. I was just... You glance over to Cassandra, who is maintaining a completely straight face. We can check out anywhere you want before we head up there. Yeah, right. You fix your gaze straight ahead. This wouldn't be the first time that Cassandra's lackadaisical attitude had got you in trouble with higher-ups. I was just familiarizing myself with the ship, in case I came up with any queries that I could field to you. Oh, is that so? Well, anything you'd like to ask? Oh crap, she's calling me! She's calling me on my bluff. No, ma'am! Very good. Well, I'm glad you could make it. Eventually. This mission is an urgent one, which is why we departed as soon as you came aboard without a formal reception. Thinking about it, it was unusual that there hadn't been a formal onboarding process beyond the dock staff checking your ID and guiding you onto the Gundog. You'd not realized in your rush, but now it was obvious. But it did make sense that if this was an urgent dispatch, the ship would launch as soon as all of its crew were on board. My apologies, ma'am. My transport was running late. Yes. We'd been sent word. That wouldn't have anything to do with you, would it? No, ma'am. There was a breakdown on the... Anyway, Lieutenant, I'd like to take the opportunity to formally welcome you to the JFS Gundog. My name is Captain Neris Bartamuse. I run as tight a ship as you'd expect, and I expect that you'll carry out your duties to the same standard. Yes, ma'am. From experience, most onboarding procedures have involved greetings and speeches from the captain that have ranged from serious to almost ceremonial. In comparison, Captain Bartamuse's introduction is almost lethargic. Your card, Lieutenant? Yes, ma'am. Yep, so item will activate when you're able to use things that are in the inventory. In some cases you will need to use an item to proceed, but in others, whether you use an item or not is up to you. When possible, select the item button to open the inventory, and select the item to use it. To dismiss it, select the item button again. Your card, Lieutenant. Alright, so my security keycard. As security officer, it allows me access to almost anywhere or anything on the ship. Now, I wonder if this is going to be like Phoenix Wright. We're able to show our badge to everyone. We can show our keycard to everyone and annoy them. She inspects it for a moment, before taking it to a control panel near the captain's chair. You remain in position. Not quite at ease, but not quite at attention. You watch as she enters some commands into the console and inserts your card into a slot. There's a whirring sound, followed by a series of beeps before your card is ejected and the captain takes it back. Beep boop. Alright, by selecting the function button, you can now access a map of the ship, allowing you to move from one location to another without visiting areas in between. Okay. If an event happens somewhere on the way, you'll move to that location instead. Oh, that's nice. Don't have to worry about skipping things by just walking past them. I can also view your current objectives and other important information. To return, select the function button again. Jovian Colony Fleet data pad. So we've got ourselves the map over here. Nice that it's sort of laid out as well. Excuse me. Captain's quarters. Alright. With this, Lieutenant Denacia, you now have access to all areas and authorities befitting the ship's security detail. Thank you. Your responsibilities begin with immediate effect. Thank you, ma'am. You're also now authorized to take an appropriate electroshock weapon from the armory. If you have any further questions, then you know where to find me. Dismissed. Alright, yes ma'am, met the captain. Let's have a look around, shall we? Let me just, what does tasks say? Alright, so I've got a whole bunch of tasks listed over here. Select our sidearm. Yeah, introduce ourselves over there. Hey, we got ourselves a glossary. I guess that's what we're going to be doing for a little bit now. So, armored frames. Humanoid machines used by different factions throughout the solar system as the backbone of their armed forces. Typically between 15 to 20 meters tall and operated by a single pilot. Armored frames are the weaponized versions of worker frames and proved to be instrumental in the outcome of the Solar War. They were largely developed for space combat, but ground-use variations have also proven their value. Alright, so they're being fairly realistic about this. E-magazines, short for electronic magazines. Digital publications that took the place of traditional magazines on colonies to save on materials and production costs. Containing the same information as normal magazines, they are downloaded from digital networks, with most spacefarers having subscriptions that allow their ships to download the latest issues whenever they dock. Electroshock weapons. Weapons used by ship security in the event of crew hostilities, insubordination, mutinies, etc. They fire barbed rounds that contain small batteries which discharge a shock once contact is made. Utilized by security instead of conventional firearms due to both their non-lethal nature and to remove the risk of depressurization. The electroshock weapons on the Gundog resemble an oversized revolver. Oh, lovely. I prefer a typical semi-automatic rather than a revolver, but I suppose the revolver is a classic, right? Anyway, Europa Colony. Stand for Taurus-type space colony in the orbit of Jupiter's moon Europa. Supporting roughly 200,000 people, it serves as a political center for the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet. And the Europa Cluster. The group of space colonies in orbit around Jupiter's moon Europa. Europa Colony is the premier colony. Extravehicular activity, also known as EVA, or as a spacewalk. It is any activity that takes place in space but outside of a craft. This could include repairs to the exterior of a ship or traversing the surface of an asteroid. Flight, term used to refer to a squadron of armored frames. Gravity shell, the system built into a ship's structure that enables artificial gravity on board a spacecraft. Typically at its weakest towards the exterior of the ship, and sometimes absent entirely from areas like hangars or launch bays. A gravity shell is too large and resource intensive to be built into anything much smaller than a ship. Yep, that a big old Taurus. I prefer the O'Neill cylinders myself, but Tauruses are cool as well. Those are the wheel designs. Reason they're shaped like a wheel is so you can get rotational gravity up and running. They're a lot narrower than the O'Neill cylinders. If you played what's these? Startopia. Then you're probably familiar with a Taurus, because Startopia takes place on a Taurus, essentially. So a Higgs field distortion drive, the breakthrough technology that allows near speed of light travel throughout the solar system. For more information on a need-to-know basis, please contact your chief engineer. We already did that. It's like a source packet. Jovian, term used to refer to both the colonists who live near Jupiter and anything associated with the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet. For example, Jovian armored frame, Jovian soldiers, etc. Jovian Colony Fleet, abbreviated to JCF. The military fleet belonging to the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet, and fleet ship, abbreviated JFS. The ship prefix used for ships of the JCF Navy. Jovian Unified Colony Fleet, a political entity made up of all the space colonies either in the orbit of Jupiter or her moons. Originally set up as company towns, where the inhabitants worked in heavy industry and resource harvesting, the colonists eventually rebelled with the assistance of the Solar Federation and became an independent entity under Solar Federation jurisdiction. Following the Solar War, it asserted its independence and is now entirely autonomous. So yeah, first rebel against the corporations and then rebel against Earth. We're all a bunch of rebels here. Juno. The main model of armored frame produced by the JCF, named after the Roman goddess Juno, wife of Jove, the workhorse of the JCF, Junos are favoured for their utility, hardiness, and ease of use and manufacture. The Gundog carries two Juno 3s, the latest version. I wonder if this is more like a Zaku or a Jim in terms of armament. It seems like we've got the mono eye going on, so that's more Zaku-like, right? Luna, formal name given to Earth's moon once settled by the Solar Federation. It acted as the center of manufacture and commerce for the Solar Federation when they encompassed the entire solar system, but following the Solar War it has lost that position. Martian territories. A coalition of space colonies, city-states, and large-scale industrial operations based on or near Mars and the asteroid belt. Originally financed by Earth-based industrialists, it later gained self-governance with Solar Federation assistance. Following the Solar War, the territories asserted their independence and are now entirely autonomous. Nuclear pulse engines. A type of engine that uses controlled nuclear explosions to provide thrust. If you are familiar with like a early like mid 20th century sort of like future tech, it is essentially dropping nuclear bombs behind you in order to provide thrust. This was an actual technology that people thought of in order to like progress with space travel beyond standard chemical drives. It is indeed a huge nuclear yeet. It is lots and lots of nuclear yeets. Typically used in addition to traditional fuel-based thrusters when traversing distances too small to require use of the Higgs field distortion drive. NutriShakes. A meal replacement comes in powdered form and can be added to water to make a beverage that can supply someone's entire nutritional requirement. Typically used on ships that are too small to carry an entire voyage's worth of synthetic reproduction rations. Planetary Calendar, abbreviated to PC, the calendar that takes over from Common Era or Anno Domini. Formally taken up following the successful colonization of Mars. Sol, short way to refer to either the entire solar system or just its sun. Solar Federation, an Earth-based political entity that, prior to the Solar War, governed the entire solar system. Following its defeat at the Battle of Luna, it formally surrendered control of all territories, colonies, and installations in Martian space and beyond. Solar War, a conflict between the Solar Federation and the allied forces of the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet and Martian territories that started PC-206 and ended PC-209. Originally caused by a disagreement between the Earth-based government of the Solar Federation and other factions regarding civil liberties and taxation, the war resulted in a loss for the Solar Federation. Synthetic reproduction rations. Long-life ingredients made from hypoallergenic vegan compounds to imitate staple foods such as meats, vegetables, and various carbohydrates. Able to be cooked into a convincing approximation of most meals. Typical shelf life when unopened is 10 years. And terminal. A device that resembles a computer, but relies on a central computer or mainframe for its processing requirements. Alright, so let's look around. With the exception of some physical controls, a ship the size of the Gundog can be controlled entirely from the bridge. Navigation, automated combat systems, security measures, you name it, it can all be done by a few crew members in this room. The bridge is one of the few places on any ship where you can actually see out into space. During combat, these windows are covered by blast shutters, and the bridge crew rely on sensors and small cameras mounted on the ship's exterior. Obviously, they've still got an actual window, do they? With the exception of some... Yeah. That's the captain's chair. Though the majority of the ship can be controlled by the operations staff, there's a few select systems that only the captain can authorize, and they're all done from that chair. You need the captain's clearance level to access them though, so it's not like you can just sit down and activate them. Alright. Let's use stuff. I wouldn't know where to begin, even if I was allowed. It's nice to look out into space sometimes, but it's hard to relax with the bridge crew around, and just staring up into space doesn't give a good impression. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's a court-martial just for thinking about sitting in it. Trying to sit in the captain's chair! I got an achievement for that one. Lovely. Alright, so let's speak with Vanessa. Excuse me, Lieutenant. I'm currently on duty, so I would appreciate it if you did not disturb me. Lieutenant Lord! Lieutenant Denacia is the ship's head of security. Since I'm here, you can take the time to introduce yourself formally. Great! I've got this. See you in 5. So, you're the security officer that Cassandra's been going on about? That's right, Lieutenant Araxis Denacia. Pleased to meet you. Well, I'm Vanessa Lord. I serve on the bridge as part of operations. Cassandra's told me a lot about you. Is that right? What kind of, I'm disappointed that you're nowhere near as attractive as she made you out to be. Sorry to disappoint? Oh, is that, right. I thought it was too good to be true. That some snatching officer would be transferred here at the last moment. Instead, we've just got another lung. Well, how was it he even got transferred here on such short notice? I was looking over your records earlier, and you were mid-assignment on the Duke. Why would they transfer you instead of... Whoa! Hey, look at the time. I think your break's over. Lieutenant Commander Quinn, I think Vanessa needs to get back to her station. Of course. I hope this is the start of a productive working relationship between the two of you. Vanessa, I'll catch up with you later, okay? Alright then. At least she's not insulting your hair. Look, my hair is fabulous, okay? Look, blowout pompadours are totally in fashion. 100%. Yes, Lieutenant? Captain? When I received my posting to the Gundog, I was informed by Roll, but I didn't receive the ship's briefing documents. If I may, what's the Gundog's objective? We've been alerted by another Swift-class patrol vessel, the O'Brien, about signals coming from the edge of our territory. The O'Brien is currently on a solo patrol in outer Jovian space, so we've been sent to provide backup or support as necessary. Of course, if something were to attack two Swifts, it's not as if they could put up much of a fight. Really? It's more that we're out there so that if anything does happen, at least one vessel will be able to get away to warn the colony fleet. I see. Oh, did I just say that out loud? Yes, ma'am. Forget what I just said. That's an order. Yep, yes, ma'am. Well, she's awfully pessimistic about this mission. I'm sure we'll do just fine together. This is great. The Gundog is full of, well put together individuals. Yes, Lieutenant. How can I be of assistance? Cassie, you're being... Respectfully, Lieutenant Denacia, I would appreciate if you'd address me as Lieutenant Commander Quinn. I see. Yes, Lieutenant? Yeah, okay. Alright, so... let's head over to the armory, shall we? So over here... And... Well, is Cassie still coming with us, or is she on duty now? Okay, she's still with us. You swipe your keycard through the card reader set into the terminal by the armory's door. There's a slight delay, but quickly enough the terminal flashes the message, "Access granted," and the door slides open. Alright, so... got enough weapons for... like, half the ship, it looks like? Maybe. Those might be weapons as well, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. The first thing you notice about the armory is that the benches and lockers remind you of the changing rooms from the training center back at the military academy on Europa Colony. As you walk past them, you take a closer look and realize that they're the same kind of benches used on the larger ships you've been stationed on. The ones with sports facilities and changing rooms on board. Instead of sports clothing and equipment, these lockers are filled with a selection of combat gear, from body armor or electroshock weapons to a variety of small and light weapons. You know, this is the first time I've ever actually been inside a ship's armory. That's not really surprising. It's only the security detail that would have access. Even as in a situation where a ship's expecting to encounter a boarding party, it's security's responsibility to distribute weaponry to the crew in advance. It's to ensure there's no panic, and that crew don't get a hold of weaponry that they're not trained to use. Huh. That's standard regulation. You should know that. Well... all I remember from my firearm training was when I dropped my electroshock weapon and accidentally zapped one of the other girls from operations. Alright. You just hide in your cabin if there's a boarding action going on. That's really bad. Our trainer made me use a hand-cranked battery charger to recharge all the power packs as punishment. That must have taken forever. You bet! But you should have seen my gun show afterwards! Pew pew! Which reminds me, the captain said I was authorized to collect my sidearm. I should get it whilst I'm here. Alright, so let's look around. Spacesuits in here are for the ship's security detail. They're a little bit more robust than the suits handed out to the rest of the crew for obvious reasons, but aside from that, they don't offer much of a tactical advantage. I mean, we're just a small patrol vessel, right? This locker contains electroshock weapons. They're non-lethal and intended to be used for crew control in case of a mutiny or violence that breaks out for some other reason. Alright, so those are the shock weapons. These must be the heavier ordnance. This locker contains a variety of small arms and light weapons. They're only for use against external hostile forces. Even then, their stopping power is relatively low because of the dangers of using live rounds inside a ship. So, have you ever gotten to use any firearms? Why do you ask? Well, I know you're security, but you never tell me anything exciting. I always imagine you facing down bad guys with some scary pistol the size of my forearm, saying cool lines like, "How many shots did I fire?" I don't know myself, but the question is, do you feel lucky, Bob? Well, do ya? You've been watching way too many old movies. Ah, not even once? Maybe in the mirror. Most of my job has been dealing with crew members who get a bit tetchy after being cooped up on a ship for too long and start fights with each other. Even then, I just tend to break things up and talk them down. Most of the time, no one even ends up in the brig. See? Conflict de-escalation. This is way more important than just go in and guns blasting. You've got to have done something more exciting than that. Well, I knew you were an exciting action hero. Tell me, tell me! So, well, this one time, a pilot found out that someone on the maintenance team had tried to hit on his girlfriend. He got so mad that he got into his armored frame and used it to corner the guy in the hangar. No way. He was threatening to turn the guy into paste and had made a real mess of some cargo containers. Because the hangars are a low-gravity zone, I was able to make a jump from a gangway to the armored frame and then overrode the cockpit access from the outside. The pilot was too focused on this engineer to notice me. Whoa! Brainjack! Did you use a cool line when the cockpit opened? Pick on someone your own size or something? No way. I put 50,000 volts into the guy's shoulder the second I had a clear shot. Come on! You're no fun! Look, in that case, you just instantly go for it before he's able to, react, because, if he's in control of heavy equipment, he might end up squishing the guy by accident, in surprise. Accessing a weapon locker sends an automatic alert to the bridge. Even if I want to examine the weaponry, I wouldn't want to set off an alarm up there without telling anyone what I was doing. There's no reason to use those now. They're a real pain to put back as well. Alright. This is the weapons locker with the electroshock weapons in. I'm authorized to take one small weapon from here as part of my role as security officer. This one will do. You've got an electroshock gun. Yeah, that is indeed a revolver. I mean, I suppose as a revolver, you could, load live ammo in there as well, maybe? I don't know. Depends on how the cylinder's designed. What's that? It's just my standard issue duty weapon for my role as security officer. fires a barbed projectile that contains a miniature battery. It's non-lethal, but more than enough to stop someone in their tracks. Technically less lethal. Like, let's be real here. Electricity can still kill someone, even if it's meant for non-lethal actions. I see. Absolutely not. Ah, come on! Do you want to get zapped? No. Okay, same old. Alright. Yeah, electroshock gun uses non-lethal rounds to deliver 50,000 volts to the target. It's intended for use against the crew in case of violence that can't be de-escalated. Alright. How many volts is a taser? Alright, so that's all of our tasks done. With Cassandra leading the way, the two of you leave the armory behind you and step into the Ark Thoroughfare. We still have one more person to meet. The person I apparently knew back on the carrier. Cassandra pauses for a moment, looking left, then right, before turning back to face you with a smile on her face. Well, that's it, Araxis! Consider yourself officially acquainted with all there is to be acquainted with on board the one and only JFS Gundog. Hope you enjoyed the tour. I did. It's probably up there in my top 5 ship orientations. Top 5? Okay, you're right. Top 3. What? Maybe a triple shift to start your time aboard the Gundog is more to your taste. Well, that did happen to be on board the Thunderbolt. So if that didn't happen, I guess it'd definitely be my favorite orientation ever. What a coincidence! It looks like your schedule's clear until tomorrow morning. Yay! Whoa! In that case, 5 stars, great tour, especially the guide. Yeah. So, now that the tour's over, your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow. If you want, we can take another look at anywhere on the ship, or if you want to call it a day, that's cool too. I think I'll... I'll have a quick look around the ship, see if anything happens, and then we'll call it a day. I think I'll take another look around. It's best if I'm completely up to speed on everything there is to know about the ship before I start my duties. Roger that, Lieutenant. Let's go. But when you decide that you've got everything figured out, it's probably best to head back to your quarters. You've got a big day ahead of you. Alright, so first step, Cassandra's quarters. You able to do anything here? Nah, just same old. Alright. Alright, so I think I've looked at everything. No one's gone to the mess hall lately, have they? Yeah, alright, just head back to quarters. Map. So, now that the tour's over, your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow. Yeah. Call it a day at school. Yeah, call it a day, we're done. Now I think that's enough for now. I should probably go over the mission logs before tomorrow and get an early night. I know the captain seems pretty, relaxed, but I don't want to make a habit of late starts. I mean, I don't think she's relaxed, I think she's more nihilistic. We'll see. So responsible. I've got the late shift tonight, so maybe I'll get a nap in too. Okay, I'll see you soon then. Well, look who it is! The Kalik Coward. Don't even need to look beyond Cassandra to know who's standing at the entrance to the corridor. Look, my ship did not launch, alright? That's not my fault. Although you'd recognize the mocking tone anywhere, the real giveaway is the nickname. One you'd thought you'd escaped a long time ago. Ah, man, look at this fucking, like, Iceman wannabe character over here. Hanson Cruz, or as you knew him, Kalik 3. Of the members of the Kalik Squadron who'd taken part in the battle, he'd been the only one to return. Even then, that had only been after the ceasefire had been signed, a full 13 hours after he'd launched. From what you'd heard from other crew members, he'd survived by playing a game of cat and mouse with the enemy forces in a debris field. By shutting down the majority of his systems and hiding amongst the wreckage, he'd been able to launch surprise attacks, taking down his pursuers one by one. When he came back to the Kalik and saw your armored frame still suspended from its restraints, he had instantly blamed you for the squad being wiped out. If you'd taken off when you were supposed to, he argued, the squadron would have been at full strength, enough to survive the surprise attack. No amount of technical data or arguing that it had been physically impossible for you to launch would change his mind. The destruction of the Kalik Squadron was on your hands. The worst bit was that you weren't entirely sure he was wrong. What's up, Lieutenant Araxis? You're not thinking of finishing your first day without meeting an old friend, right? When Haru came and told me that some lieutenant called Araxis Denacia was our new security officer, I had to come and take a look. No way could it be that wimp from back on the Kalik. They had to have been dishonorably discharged for dereliction of duty. But I guess the JCF is so desperate that they'll hang on to anybody, no matter how much of a screw-up they are. How'd you end up here, Denacia? They decided you couldn't handle a full-size ship, that they put you with the smallest crew they could find? I mean, sounds like you're burning yourself there, Hanson. You instinctively make your hands into fists, but unclench them quickly before Hanson notices. You haven't been stationed on the same ship as him since the Kalik, but you'd run into him a few times on board the colonies, whilst you were both on shore leave. Yes, I get what you're saying, Sherma, but that would just result in a court-martial for us, probably. As satisfying as that would be. Each time had ended badly. Alright, so we're not going to directly push back, but we're definitely not going to say nothing. Stand down. We're gonna go with that. Almost lash out at Hanson, but stop yourself before you do. I wonder if the game legitimately lets us, like, turn the gun on him here. The two of you are on this ship together, whether you like it or not. The last thing you want to do is let him know that he can get a rise out of you so easily. You fight the urge to just draw your electroshock weapon here and now. It'd be easy to put an end to this that way, you think. But you know that in the long term, it'd probably be the worst decision you could make. Instead, you grit your teeth. Stand down, Ensign. This kind of behavior's out of line. Oh no. What are you going to do, Lieutenant? Confine me to quarters? On what grounds? Hurting your feelings? Give me a break. Where was this spine 4 years ago, huh? You're happy to throw your weight around against your comrades, but not the enemy? See what I was saying, Haru? Lieutenant here's a coward, and has been since day one. Won't fight, won't even stand up for themselves. Ensign Cruz, you stop this right now! Lieutenant Denacia is... Can't stand up for yourself for getting this ditz to do it for you, is it, Lieutenant? Cruz, you stop this right now and apologize, or I'll order Lieutenant Denacia to throw you into solitary and write you up myself. You're welcome to try, Lieutenant Commander, but I don't think your security officers got it in them to even try. You think you can take me on, Denacia? Orders are orders. If she decides to order me to do this, you step up to Handsome and place your hands on your hips, squaring directly up to him. You look into his eyes and wait for him to blink. A few 10 seconds pass, but eventually he blinks first. You hold on to the sigh of relief for now. Ensign Cruz, that's a request from a senior officer. I suggest that you don't force a lieutenant commander to make it an order. You're so close that you can feel Hanson's hot breath on your face as he exhales through his nose and smirks. Why is that? Worried about what you'd have to do when I disobey it? Come on then, Lieutenant. What's it gonna be? You gonna show me who's boss on board this ship? You gonna make me obey that order? You wanna think long and hard about what you're going to do, Lieutenant. Never know when you're gonna need a friend like me. I mean, we're all crewmates here, right? I'm not heartless. I'll even help losers like you out if you've done me a solid or two. But maybe you should act like a professional for once. Why are you going to do something stupid and show the Lieutenant Commander that you're just as much of a screw-up as she is? You take a deep breath and... do nothing, stand up to him, give him what he wants. Yeah, so... like, he's just gonna keep pushing us around. If we don't do anything. Like, this guy's got a huge chip on his shoulder. Like, he's probably traumatized from, like, being out there for, what was it, 12, 13 hours on his own, fighting a guerrilla war in the asteroid field, and he's lashing out at me because of that. But, like, that is not healthy at all. And, like, we can't just, like, do nothing or give him what he wants. Like, that's not going to help him, it's not going to help us. So... with Hanson's breathing hot on your face, you do everything you can to knock out an eye at that last comment. But despite your best efforts, your hands are clenched into fists. As much as you'd like to put 50,000 volts through him for insubordination and insulting a senior officer, you know that will be letting him win. Instead, You glare into the ensign's eyes for a few more seconds. You could... Yeah, like the game was definitely telling me that I could use the stun weapon over there. Like, it had the item, like, ready for me to use. Like, it's blanked out now, but... Like, the game legitimately was challenging me to turn the gun on him. You can almost feel Hansen's hatred for you radiating from him like an aura, and it takes all the bravado you can muster not to step down. Two of you stand like this for longer than you'd like, until... Would you two knock it off already? I am on duty this evening, and I don't want to have to update the captain that both her new security officer and lead pilot are in the sickbay. All because their egos are too big to be on the same ship together. So both of you stand down. That's an order. Both you and Hansen are taken aback for a moment, like two school children who've been caught in a playground squabble. You turn from Cassie to Hansen and back, trying to come up with something to say. Similarly, Hansen's air of machismo has been dented by this surprise outburst. No, I don't want to hear it from either of you. You're both in the JCF, so maybe you should start acting like it. Ensign Cruz, I want you to report to the chief at 0400. You're helping her clean out the organic processing filters. As for you, Lieutenant Denacia, we'll discuss this later. Well, you can't. Ensign? Piss off! That's an order. For the first time since you've met him, Hansen looks lost for words. He stands there for a moment, mouth agape. Oh, this might have actually helped Cassie actually get some authority over this guy, because it sounds like he doesn't respect her either. Yeah, Lieutenant Commander. I hear you loud and clear. Hansen thrusts both his hands into his jacket pockets, turning on his heel and heading away towards the thoroughfare. He cocks his head, gesturing to Haru to follow him as he leaves. Before the pair are fully out of sight, he turns back to face the two of you. Good thing someone of this crew is able to keep everyone in line. Doesn't seem like our security officers up to the task. With this parting shot fired, both Haru and Hansen disappear around a corner. You and Cassie stand there watching the space where they've been. Cassie crosses her arms as she taps her foot furiously. What an absolute dick! I told you, he's a real... And you! What was that performance all about? I've told you about him. He doesn't back down. You've got to... I know. But you can't let him get to you like that, otherwise he'll just keep coming time after time until one of you does something they'll regret. You pause for a moment and feel your cheeks grow flush. You're suddenly filled with a sense of shame, being caught out acting so childishly. Hey, don't worry about it. You know what what the two of you have been through, and to be honest, I figured he was a real asshole from the moment I met him. Plus, he's going to be busy helping the chief clean out those filters for the next month. So don't worry too much about running into him much anytime soon. Still feeling a bit sheepish about your behavior in front of Cassie, you manage a smirk. Thanks for stepping in there. Shouldn't have stooped to his level. Don't worry about it. Just take it easy, and don't let what he said get to you. I'm going to go get ready for my shift, so I'll see you soon. Sure. I guess I'll catch you in the morning. Sounds good. One more thing. What's that? Cassie steps forward, places her hands on your waist, and stands on tiptoes, raising her face up to yours. You close your eyes and tilt your head slightly in response. At the moment that her lips meet yours, you forget everything that just happened. All you can focus on is the softness and delicate warmth. Ah, that's cute. After a moment, Cassie slowly moves back and you open your eyes to find her gazing at you contentedly. You both share the same gentle smile before she steps away. Sleep well, Araxis! As Cassie walks away, she spins on her heels, gives you a quick wave, and then turns back, heading further down the corridor. As you step into your quarters and head over to your bunk, the door hisses shut behind you. You stand there for a moment, with a smile still on your face, before you let out a sigh and sit down. Staring at nothing in particular, you mull over the day's events and Cassie's words from earlier. Big day ahead tomorrow, huh? You sigh. We'll see. Alright, let's save the game here. April 23rd, Planetary Calendar 214. 4 days have passed since the JFS Gundog departed on its mission to rendezvous with the JFS O'Brien. In that time, her crew, including Lieutenant Araxis Denacia, have fallen into the easy rhythm of life aboard the ship. Let's save the game here. Chapter 3. Lovely. Maybe I should have saved at the meetup with the crews over there so that I could check what happens when we zap him. Even as the Gundog enters the outer limits of Jovian space and is due to meet the O'Brien, there is little for the crew to do, and a general sense of routine permeates the atmosphere. Outer Jovian space. Aboard the Jovian patrol ship, JFS Gundog. What the origin of the name Gundog is? You're just finishing the last of your copy as a shrill series of electronic pips begins sounding from your wristwatch. Without looking to check the time, you realize that there is an ad break. You will take a brief pause here, and we will resume in a few moments, alright? A few minutes. I'd say don't go anywhere, but honestly, take the chance to go to the bathroom, go grab a drink, what have you. Alright, be right back. Alright, we have returned. And, excuse me, just need to blow my nose for a second. Sorry about that. Alright, so let's get back to the game, shall we? Without looking to check the time, you turn off the alarm and rise from your seat, knocking back the last of your drink once you've stood up, and then taking the empty cup back to the food vendor. It's easy to lose track of time on board a military ship where the light is kept at a constant level, so you rely on a series of alarms you programmed. You know that this one means your shift is due to start in a few minutes, giving you time to finish whatever you may be doing. You place the cup back into the vendor, where the machine latches onto it, and then retracts it into a space that is quickly sealed by a sliding panel. As the sound of muffled whirring begins, you turn back to face the empty mess hall. Well, time to carry out the day's security checks then. Let's see. Need to stop by fire control, the hangar, and engineering to check that everything's going as it should. Alright, seems simple enough. So, engineering, fire control, the hangar. We'll go in order of this, I think. Seems reasonable to me. Now, since it's a new chapter, we have to see different things here. I think they're all the same, right? Red ones are refrigerated, white ones, yeah, okay. I don't know how Cassie did it, since we should have restocked when docking. Just had breakfast, so it's a bit early for lunch. This thing does a surprisingly good plant protein, bacon and eggs. Alright. Let's see. That'd be nice to get something for later. What should I do? Let's buy a chocolate bar, why not? Let's see. A silent voice bar or a Duggan Krills? Okay. Let's go with the silent voice. Got a silent voice. A bar of aerated milk chocolate. Great on its own, or dunked in a hot drink. It's also one of the favorites of a particular head of operations. Yeah, you know what, we'll give this to my girlfriend later. I think that sounds like a good idea. It just seems nice to do like nice things every so often for the person for the people you're close to, right? Okay, I can't eat it right now. I did click on it. Alright, so head on out. Just looking around, give me anything. Fire controls on the list for today's checks. Should probably tell Dylan I'm done with that Trish and the Replicants cassette. Nothing in there I need right now. Hangar's one of the places I've got to check out for my daily report. Could always head there next. Oh, you know what? We're over here now, so might as well. Now's as good a time as any to check out the hangar. Move to the hangar. Yes. Alright, the hangar. Let's see. Although you take the first few stairs normally, by the time you reach the hangar entrance, you're skipping almost every step. Gliding through the door onto the catwalk, you grab the railing and heave yourself over it. As you continue to float lazily through the wide open space of the hangar, you start your visual checks. Walkways clear, access points marked, munitions stowed, All the equipment and supplies seem to be where they should be. You casually shift your weight to one side of your body, forcing you to begin spinning slowly. As you rotate, the glare from the hangar lights reflects off an armored frame's camera lens, almost as if it was watching you. Quickly dismissing the thought, you turn your attention back to your duties. Eventually, you arrive at the other end of the hangar, where you plant your feet on the thick steel of the main door. From this angle, you can take in everything that you may have missed, including Dalton, who you can see in amongst the storage units, his attention fixed intently on a collection of parts in front of him. Cadet Dalton! Attention! The junior engineer suddenly snaps to attention the second he hears your call, inadvertently launching the pair of pliers he was holding out into the open space of the hangar. Without gravity to stop them, they continue to sail through the air. At ease, cadet! You time your launch from the door exactly to allow yourself to grab the pliers as you float over to the startled cadet. I believe these are yours, cadet? Lieutenant! Thank you! I didn't realize you were... Relax, Dalton. Just doing my rounds. I'm not here to check up on you. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Is there anything I can help you with? Just the usual. Everything okay in here? You haven't noticed any mechanical failures? Everything working how it should? Any suspicious activity? Nothing to report, Lieutenant. I've just been working on my project. Ever since Lieutenant Commander Quinn assigned Ensign Cruz to the filter cleaning, it's given me a bit of extra time to finish things up. That's lovely. Oh yeah. That's your high-density foam that sets rock hard, right? How's that going? That's right. It's, good. It's good. I'm hoping to get the chance to test it soon. These containers are full of the compound. I'm just about to try transferring it into some empty training rounds. You know? The ones normally filled with paint. The ones that the armored frame pilots use in practice combat to show that they've hit each other. The compound's stored under pressure, where it remains a liquid. When removed from that pressure, it expands quickly, and with the rapid expansion, it sets. If I've got this right, then we can test it by firing the practice rounds at dummy targets. When the casing is destroyed, the compound should activate. Good news. Well, if there's nothing I need to know, I'll head out. Let me know if you see anything out of place. Yes, Lieutenant, I will. Although, I was wondering... What's up, Cadet? It's nothing. Don't worry about it. If you're sure, Cadet. Tools, equipment, and supplies. She keeps a close eye that everything's stowed properly, and Dalton works to her high standards. I can't see anything wrong with it right now. Everything looks in order. Some of these containers hold the compound that Dalton's been working on, but he keeps his work environment so tidy I wouldn't be able to tell you which. That's good. There was a problem with this. It'd show up on the diagnostics that are fed through to the bridge. All I need to do is a quick visual check. Everything looks fine. 2 Juno model armored frames, remarkable for being totally unremarkable. These do have some slight differences to the ones that were around during the war, but they're basically the same machine. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of tools and equipment here, but nothing I need. Dalton puts a lot of work into keeping the hangar in order. Don't want to make his life harder by messing around with the storage crates. Controls for the hangar door look in order. Always seemed a bit strange that the main door could be opened just by pressing a button and pushing a lever. I have to make sure never to point that out to Cassie. You wouldn't be able to resist finding out if it really is that easy. Oh, Cassie. This model of Juno has a simulation mode installed into the main computer. if I wanted to, I could spend some time in there and... Who am I kidding? Alright. Let's check with Dalton. Dalton, what were... yeah! Slow down, Cadet. It's me. Oh, sorry, Lieutenant. I didn't realize you were still here. Don't worry about it. Anyway, you've got something on your mind. What were you going to ask? Oh, it's nothing, Lieutenant. Don't worry about me. Come on, Dalton. Not exactly like I'm rushed off my feet doing the security rounds. What's up? Well, if you're sure... The Chief sent a message that she wants me to head over to engineering to carry out a job. But I'm right at a critical part of the process to decant the compound into the training rounds. If I stop now, I'll have to stow all my equipment, so I'll be late anyway, and then I won't have any time, and then it'll be... Okay, slow down. What do you need me to do? Oh, sorry, well, I just need a bit more time. The Chief's got something she wants me to do, but if I stop now, I don't know when I'll get another chance. Is there any way you could cover for me? Alright. Well, he is doing, like, an important job. This is, like, research related. I don't know what sort of job the Chief wants her to do. I mean... Sure, let's help Dalton out, shall we? He just needs a little bit of extra time, right? Say no more. I'll take care of it. You will? I mean, are you sure, Lieutenant? Don't even worry about it. If it's something I can help with, then I'll lend you a hand. If I can't, well, I'll cover for you. Don't sweat it. Thank you, Lieutenant. With the extra time, I should be able to get these rounds ready for testing before the next AF drills. Thank you. No problem. I'll get back to it. If the Chief thinks you've slacked off for nothing, then you'll know about it. Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll get right on it. Alright, so we'll help him out. We'll probably head down to engineering in a bit then, in order to let the Chief know so that Dalton doesn't get in trouble or anything. Oh, Lieutenant, thanks for helping out with the Chief. I should be able to finish these rounds before the next drills are due at this rate. Does that give us a new objective here? Sorry. Yep, help Dalton with his tasks, talk to the Chief in engineering. Yep, so we'll do that. Let's head out. Let's head to the central hub. Go say hello. Okay, so I can't go see her yet. That's fine. Anyone in the sick bay right now? Ah, Lieutenant Denacia. Can I help you? No, thank you, Doctor. I'm just stopping by. For what purpose? If I can't help you, then I would have to assume you're here for some other alternative purpose. Did you intend to make small talk? No, I didn't really come here to pick up more nutritional shakes for Miss Quinn. No. On the captain's orders? No, look, as part of your routine checks. Yes, just doing the routine checks. Checking in on you. Everything okay here, Doctor? Yes. Don't let me keep you, Lieutenant. You're clearly very busy. Great, thanks. I'll just be carrying on with my rounds then. Sickbay beds for long-term treatment of patients. I wonder how long it's been since anyone on the ship has been treated for anything worse than a minor sprain or strain. Pretty much an onboard pharmacy. Guess the doctor's got to be prepared for a lot out here away from the colonies. Surgery ring or sickbay is separate from the rest of this area and includes its own backup power systems on top of the ship's existing redundancies. There's no real reason to hang around down here. If I look closer, they're actually all locked with password protection. I couldn't get in there even if I wanted to. Robot assistants have always freaked me out. I think I'll stay away from them for now. Since I don't really have anything to say to the good doctor, I think it's best that I don't try and strike up another conversation. Probably a good idea. Alright, let's head to engineering, shall we? That was the aft thoroughfare. And engineering. We need to go into the armory. I'll have a look around, right? Emergency spacesuits up at the ship's security detail, which would be me. Ones stored here are slightly armored in comparison to the rest of the crews for obvious reasons. Everything else is the same though. Yeah, they're slightly different, so we're going to be looking through everything. Electroshock weapons. They're non-lethal and intended to be used for crew control in case of a mutiny or violence that breaks out. I'm so close to giving Hanson a blast from one of these the other day. In this locker, there's a variety of small arms and light weapons for use against external hostile forces. Stopping power is relatively low to try to reduce potential damage to the ship's systems. Yeah, I'll leave these alone. No reason for me to get them out. I've already got a weapon and a set of rounds. Their charge lasts for weeks, so I don't need to replace them. If I attempt to take a weapon from the locker, it will send an alert to the bridge. Yeah, I'm going to explain that. Alright, so... move to engineering. Lieutenant Araxis Denacia, entering main engineering. You declare to the cavernous expanse of machinery and access ways that makes up the engineering section. You'd been instructed to announce your arrival by the chief, and since the last time you didn't should nearly drop a filtration unit on you to prove a point, you made sure not to forget. Access ways clear, no visible detritus, nothing seems to be malfunctioning. You stop midway through your visual checks. And no one's throwing heavy machinery off the higher levels to teach me a lesson in proper conduct. It doesn't take long for you to finish your daily checklist. The chief runs such a tight ship that you don't really expect anything less. Now that you think about it though, she hasn't given you your daily grilling about how insulting it is that you think these daily checks are necessary in the first place. Chief? You here? Up here, Lieutenant! Chief? Are you around? Damn it, Lieutenant! I'm up here! That's weird. It's not like the chief to not be at her assigned duty station. I'll have to tell the captain. Damn it, Lieutenant! I'm up here! Look up, you idiot! Looking up, you see the chief engineer leaning dangerously across the safety rail of a walkway a few levels above you. Behind her is a massive cabling that's pouring out of an open panel above her. Oh, Chief! Good morning! Good morning yourself? I've been calling back to you this whole time! Got to clean out your ears or something? Sorry, Chief. It's pretty loud in here. Nothing in here's running above a safe decibel limit, and if you tell me otherwise, I'll come down there and recalibrate your ears. You quickly mentally calculate the time it would take for her to get down to where you are, and the time you'd need to get out of engineering. Although you fancy your chances, you wouldn't bet money or your ears on it. Must be me then. Anyway, I'm just filling out the daily report, Chief. What's going on up there? One of those clowns at the colony dock who took part in the maintenance process must have done something stupid to the long-range communication system. Past 12 hours, we've been picking up huge amounts of feedback. Made a bad connection, but I can't find it in all this shoddy wiring. Are you sure there's nothing out here that could be sending a signal? Broadcast from Gibryan? One of the reconnaissance satellites? No chance. This feedback is way too intense. Even a standard broadcast shouldn't produce this much noise. Unless, maybe they calibrated the long-range system on the shortwave bands. In that case, its sensitivity would be off, so it would... Beef? Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in like physical networking or anything like that. I've heard horror stories about it. Huh? Oh yeah. Like I was saying, there's nothing around here that should be kicking out a signal with this kind of capacity. Like it's picking up something with an amplitude and frequency 10 times higher than our standard equipment. Which could be the result of a processor loop. Maybe I should check out the initial conversion driver next. Okay, well, in that case, Chief, I'm going to let the captain know, okay? Huh? I'll put that in my report for the captain. Alright? Oh, yeah. Sure, I was going to let her know when I'd fixed it. But those dots have done a real number on this, so it's going to be longer than I thought. Alright, thanks for the heads up. Alright, so I'm going to have to let her know that Dalton is not going to be here. He's going to be late. The power distribution module. This device sends energy from the engines out to the rest of the ship's systems. Unless it's unusually neat cabling. When is it unusually neat? Like, it wouldn't be called unusually, right? This is a part of a life support system that analyzes conditions throughout the ship and adjusts its output to support an optimum environment. Chief gave me a whole lecture about it yesterday. The central computer room. The mainframe for all the ship's terminals is in there, but it can only be accessed with authority from the captain. Through that door is the ship's engine room, and lots of headache-inducing explanations about distortion drives and fields and... Haha, yeah, sure. Hey, Chief! I'm just going to start playing around with the calibrations that ensure breathable air. Don't mind me. Why not? The power distribution module. This device sends energy from the engines out to the rest of the ship's systems. And... I'm not allowed in there. It's not going to work. You make your way through the engineering, carrying out all your standard checks. Though it's unlikely that there's much in engineering you consider a threat to the ship when it's running well, you still have to check the less exciting things, ensuring that access points are clear, security cameras are working, and so on. As you pass by the sealed door of the central computers room, you pause for a moment. None of the ships you'd previously served on had a computer system set up like this, so you're unsure what to do about not being allowed to access such a vital function as part of your checks. You idle for a moment by the door. Though normally you'd be responsible for clearing every area of the ship, Cassie had already explained to you that access was strictly limited to the operations department or the captain. You mull this over and shrug. If they wanted you to check it, you'd be able to access it. Alright, let's talk with the Chief. Oh, Chief, one more thing. Are the issues with the long-range communication system going to interfere with standard maintenance? Do I need to follow up with operations to get you some support? Depends on how badly those idiots back at Europa have fouled things up. I thought fouled was spelled with a U. Rather than, like, that foul is is referring to a bird. Unless, like, it's different when you refer to, like, fouling things up. That's an interesting typo, then. Unless it's something new for me to learn. Normally something like this should be a quick wiring fix, but I can't trace back the fault! Although maybe the problem isn't with the wiring around the receiver. They could have crossed wires in the broadcast hardware. Yes or no, Chief? Yeah, okay, cool. Then I'm right. Oh, no. Today's scheduled maintenance is pretty light, so Dalton should be able to take care of it. He's not scheduled to report to me until later, though. When you go to the hangar, tell him to pack up his project and get over here on the double. You hear? Actually, Chief, now that you mention it... Dalton said he's a little busy with his project at the moment, and that stopping would throw the whole thing off. So I said I'd cover for some of the maintenance tasks. Oh, he did, huh? Yes, Chief. And you said you'd cover? Yes, Chief. That's right. As the silence between you and the Chief drags on, you begin to regret offering to do Dalton a favor. Now that you think about it, what exactly do you know about maintenance? Not only is the Chief going to give Dalton grief for passing up his workload, you're going to get it in the neck for... Well, if he says he's at an important stage in his work, I'm not going to drag him away. Kid's been slaving over that project night and day. Got to admire his love for the craft. You let yourself relax. Thankfully, looks like the Chief's got something of a soft side after all. I like the Chief, she's awesome. I'll be able to pick things up here, but I've got one of his jobs you can do for me. What do you need? The Chief turns away from you and squats down, rummaging around in her tool pack for something. The batteries in the emergency spacesuit radio packs of the airlock are due for a replacement. Take these and switch them out for the old ones, okay? She casually tosses 2 battery packs towards you, which you just about catch, surprised by their heft. So that was in the airlock, right? Batteries, emergency suit radio packs, the airlock. Yep, okay. Yep, you got the charged batteries. Roger that, Chief. Once you got the old ones, bring them back here and plug them into the power distribution module. After that, you're free to go. Swap out the batteries in the emergency spacesuits in the airlock, then bring the old ones back here to recharge. Simple. Yep, no worries. That's in our tasks now. Replace the batteries in the airlock spacesuits. Sounds good to me. I'll quickly go do that now. So... map and the airlock. And then I'll come back and check on the engine room. Yeah, so behind this panel is the manual control for the airlock hatch. Incredibly tough to use, and is only there in case of complete system failure. Even in the event of a power disruption, the airlock has a backup system to control it. This terminal has control over the airlock, in addition to all of the normal features. On top of that, it's also Cassie's favourite stargazing spot. Airlock used mainly for crew to board or disembark. Anything much bigger usually gets brought in through the hangar. Hey there, Sion! Yeah, adventure visual novel. This is great so far, I'm really enjoying it. I highly recommend checking it out yourself. The developers, were nice as to have to sort of give blanket permission to stream the game and all, which is good because visual novels, even adventure visual novels, have less gameplay than other games. So, I urge people to go buy the game and support the developers where you can. Alright, so these are the spacesuits the Chief was talking about. They're here in case a crew member isn't able to access the ones at their normal station. I'm supposed to swap out the batteries in the radio packs. Yep, so we will go and do that. Just let me use these first. and then go over there. This panel gives access to the manual control for the airlock hatch. Don't need to open the airlock right now, and even if I did, I'd use the terminal. Because we've got to click on everything. This is the terminal that Cassie uses to access the external camera feed and view the stars. Should I take a look? Yeah. Let's see what's going on in space today. It's space. What if I'm seeing the same stars every time? Kind of hard to tell one part of space from the other when there's nothing out there. Nice and secure. Guess I can cross that off the secondary checks whilst I'm here. Alright, let's see. Chief said it was the batteries in the suit radios that needed changing. Firmly grabbing the locking mechanism's handle on the suit's container, twist it 90 degrees clockwise, and then pull. The door offers more resistance than you'd expected, but once fully opened, it remains in place. Yeah! Definitely do that, Sion. Reaching inside the container, you hold your left hand against the suit's rigid breast panel, and grab the large black block of plastic that protrudes from the panel's left side. With a tug, the block pulls away, trailing a curling cable that keeps it connected to the suit. As you pull it away from the suit, you flip the radio over to examine it. The bottom half of the device consists of a pistol grip with a secondary microphone and speaker, allowing it to be used separately from the suit. Your thumb rests comfortably on the push-to-talk button. The top half of the unit's underside has a backlit LCD screen, showing the current frequency it's tuned to and battery level. Below the screen sit a few ambiguous buttons. To its side is a dial for tuning and a power switch. Whilst this unit holds the main workings of the radio's receiver and transceiver, the wire that still anchors it to the suit connects it to the small microphone and speaker inside the helmet. Flipping the whole unit around to look at its underside, you see a small latch set into a recess, which you pull down on with your thumb, releasing the cover and letting the old battery slide out into your palm. Old battery out, you murmur to yourself as you take it in your spare hand, before sliding it into the opposite pocket from the fresh batteries. Yep, got the depleted batteries. And now to put in the new batteries. Here we go. So fully charged batteries for the airlock spacesuit radio. Go. New battery in. With battery replaced, you reattach the compartment cover, which snaps back into place. Once you set the radio onto its mount on the suit's breast panel, you step back, close the suit's container's door, and twist the locking mechanism 90 degrees counterclockwise. With one down, you move on to the other storage unit and repeat the process of unlocking the container, taking the suit's radio, swapping out the batteries, and then replacing everything as you found it. Great! All done. Let's get these back and charging and engineering. Awesome. Now that I've replaced the batteries, don't need to do anything else with these suits. Yeah, alright. No one here at the moment. Let's head back to engineering. Over here. Lieutenant. Have you sorted out those batteries yet? No, not yet. Then what are you hanging around for? I didn't let you help so you could waste my time. Get those batteries changed or I'll have you and Dalton scrubbing the biofilters. Yes, Chief. Just over here. Power distribution module. This device sends energy from the engines out to the rest of the ship. It's also got ports for the charging battery packs. I should probably finish the job. There we go. Here we go. So over here, depleted batteries. You take each battery that you'd removed from the suit's radio and place them in the charging ports on the side of the power distribution module. They slide in and lock in the place with a satisfying clunk, and a red light right above the port lights up with an amber glow. Great! A job well done. There we go, extra credit. Achievement for helping Dalton. No. Yep. Yes, Chief. All sorted. Good. You're not as useless as you look, Lieutenant. Keep it up. Thanks, Chief. I guess. Alright, so let's head in over here. One of the ship's dual engines. That should be an A, not an E. Part nuclear pulse propulsion system, part Higgs field distortion drive. Cassie and I tried to figure out how it worked using the Chief's sauce metaphor over lunch the other day, and we accidentally shot ketchup all over Dalton's back. Poor Dalton. I'm not sure he noticed. Oh, that's fine then. I can only pray I never see the day where I have to do much more than do a quick visual check on one of these, because on that day, something will have gone very, very wrong. Alright, let's move out. I want to be going to fire control now. Let's get up the hangar and let Dalton know everything's fine, shall we? As you re-enter the hangar and pause for a moment by the railings, you can see Dalton in the center of the area next to a wide open container. The container itself is crammed full of interconnecting pipes, tanks, and various other bits and pieces of inscrutable technology. You watch as he adjusts some valves, and then retrieves a cylindrical object the size of a thermos from a recess in the device. As he holds it up to the light, you catch his eye. He excitedly turns to face you and immediately launches himself at you. Lieutenant! Great timing! Look at this! Whoa! Slow down there, cadet. You grab hold of his sleeve to stop him from sailing past you and crashing into the wall by the entrance. Bracing yourself on the railing, you counteract his momentum and bring him down onto the catwalk. Good news? Oh, great news! Check this out! Dalton proudly presents the object he'd been inspecting earlier. Although at first glance it looks like a standard 40mm round from one of the Juno's machine guns, the plastic casing gives it away as a training round that would typically be filled with paint. This feels a lot heavier than normal though, suggesting different content. Okay, so we're not using like laser guns or anything, we've got 40mm cannons. Oh hey! Good job! You did it, huh? That's right! I've got the pressure right and figured out the volume of sealant for each round. I even managed to get the training rounds to seal properly afterwards, so there's no risk of spillage. A round like this should be able to immobilize any joint on an armored frame with ease. That's great to hear, Cadet. Well done. Thank you, Lieutenant. I couldn't have gotten it done so quickly without your help. Oh, was everything okay with the Chief? Did she mind? What did she ask you to do? Nothing major. Just have to swap some batteries out on the emergency spacesuits. Even a security officer like me can handle that. That's all? That's all. She genuinely seemed like she thought it'd be best to carry on with your project. That doesn't sound like the Chief. Hey, come on. I'm sure she could be alright. Sometimes. I'm sure she was going light on us because she knew that what you were doing was important. Or maybe she's just saving all my jobs from today for tomorrow's shift. And want me to work double time. Easy there, Cadet. I don't think she's that bad. Maybe. Don't sweat it, Dalton. It'll be fine. You did well today anyway. Now finish up producing all the rounds we'll need for testing, and then get this hangar shipshape. You know the Chief likes it clear. Yes, Lieutenant. Alright. I should go and give my report. Take it easy, Cadet. Yes, Lieutenant. Oh, Lieutenant? Cadet? Thanks again. I don't know when I'd have gotten a proper chance to do this without your help. Anytime, Cadet. He's a good kid. I like him. Does he have anything else to say? I was just gonna repeat this, isn't it? Yeah, okay, cool. Alright. So let's, yep. Alright, so... Yep, daily security check. Gotta visit fire control now, so... let's, move out here. And... Yep, visit fire control. Here we go. You still feel a little bit awkward checking on fire control as part of the security report. Although Dylan is always friendly enough, you can't help but feel like you're intruding on his personal sanctuary. Doesn't help that his headphones are so big that short of shaking him, it's hard to get his attention. Well, here we go. Morning, Lieutenant. Oh, how's it going, dude? Oh, hey, Dylan. Everything all right? I thought you'd be listening to your music. You're a pretty punctual person, Lieutenant. So far, you come by here at the exact same time every shift. All I had to do was find which albums would last until just before you got here, and now I don't need to get interrupted mid-jam. He's got the slacking thing down, like, to perfection. That's pretty impressive. Are you gonna get bored of listening to the same albums every morning, though? Nah, don't worry about it. I figured out about 15 different album combinations, and that's not including changing the order of play, so I'm good for this mission. Speaking of the mission, you know the drill. Anything unusual? Nothing at all, Lieutenant. Not even a scrap of debris. I've been keeping an eye on the long-range targeting systems too. We've had a blip, but the energy readings match the O'Brien, which makes sense. Yeah, I thought so. It's so deep in Jupiter's backyard, and I don't think we'll be seeing anything at all aside from the O'Brien. Pausing for a moment as you idly shift your focus from one screen to another, a flicker on one screen catches your attention. What was that? Lieutenant? This screen here, it just flickered. What did the readings say? Oh, that's the long-range targeting system. It's fed with data from like the long-range communication system, which has been on the fritz recently. Chief's been working on it, trying to figure out where all the feedback's coming from. I'm worried it's like a stealth ship or something like that. Huh. Chief mentioned she was having issues. Didn't know it impacted targeting. That's the kind of thing you should be filling me in on, Gunadese. If our targeting systems aren't operating properly, then I need to make sure the captain knows. My bad, Lieutenant. Since Chief said she was on the case, I figured it was all in hand. Well, let me know next time. That's it, though? Nothing else? Nothing at all, dude. Alright, keep it up, Gunadese. Yes, Lieutenant. Alright. Let's have a look around. All the other monitors look like they're working fine. I have to ask the Chief about the long-range communication system. Yep. Targeting system is guided by these rollerball inputs. Didn't notice the first time around, but it looks like someone's replaced one of them with an 8-ball. Alright then. All clear. Let's hope they stay that way. Yep. The targeting system isn't a toy. I should leave it alone. Probably. What's going on, Lieutenant? I listened to that Trish and the Replicants album you lent me the other day. It was pretty good. Oh, hey, nice, nice. If you're into it, I've got a few other albums I can lend you. Ever heard of Firebombing? You mean Firebomber? Hell yeah! I was wondering if you had something a bit less A rock. What were you thinking? Well, I really liked the Lin Minimay song they were always playing back on Europa before we left. Do you have anything like that? Just constant Macross references, huh? Lin Minmay. Lovely. Lin Minimay? That overproduced twee stuff? Hey, you don't disrespect Lin Minimay, alright? She saved the solar system. Come on, Lieutenant. Next you'll be telling me you want to listen to a whole album of Princess Maria ballads or something. I mean... No way, Lieutenant, come on! You're listening to Firebomber next, and that's it! Alright, okay, just leave the tape with me next time you pass by my quarters. Princess Maria. Who could have a taste in music like that? Nothing else. Yeah, okay. Alright. So that's all of our tasks done, so time to deliver our report. Alright, that's all the routine checks carried out. Time to report to the captain. I don't have to double check in with engineering about it affecting targeting, do I? I'll double check anyway. Okay, yeah, that's just about the batteries. Okay, alright, let's head to the bridge. Central hub. Actually, let's go to the crew quarters, shall we? Let's see if there's anything in here. Hanson's quarters. I've been lucky not to run into him since the other day. But no, some people never change. Haru's quarters. I still can't get a proper read on them. Dalton's quarters. Chief keeps him so busy I bet he wishes he had more time to actually spend in there. Dylan's quarters. I wonder how many cassettes he's got stashed away. My personal terminal, although I can access my available information from any terminal on the ship, really. A storage unit, just clothing and uniform in there. Probably do some laundry soon. Lets me control the room's lighting from the bed. Keep my books here too. I've nearly finished the Tales of the Cosmic Champion books I brought aboard, but I've got a few others. I bunk, taking me a few nights, but I'm beginning to get used to it. Not a lot for me to do in here, should probably get on with my duties. My orders are showing that I'm scheduled to be carrying out my daily risk assessment. I'm not getting that done in here. Nothing in here right now that I need, just my uniforms and some toiletries. Orders, no. I think I'll leave it. Start off my shift. Captain Bartholomew doesn't exactly run a tight ship, but I don't think she'd be impressed if she found out I was catching up on sleep on the clock. Alright, so let's head off. Ah, sorry, not there. Dr. Rosarium's quarters. Never seen him outside of sickbay, now that I think about it. Deep's quarters. Pretty sure I've caught her catching a power nap when she was inspecting a maintenance crawl space. Wouldn't surprise you if she slept in an access tunnel. Cassie's quarters. Vanessa's quarters. I can imagine it's immaculate in there. Just like the kind of person who's good at relaxing. Let's see, she said her passcode was our anniversary, which is the 2nd of November, 0211. Punch in the 4-digit passcode in the terminal, flashes the text, access granted, whilst the door slides open. Step into Cassie's quarters, being careful not to trip up on any errant clothing. Surprise! You announced to an empty room. Huh. I didn't think Cassie was on duty right now. Ah. Oh well. I'll avoid sort of like snooping in her room or anything. So let's head here and head up to the bridge. I've completed the security report for today. Should I go up and give it to the captain, or should I take another look around in case I've missed anything? Now, time to report to the captain. Hold on. Let me double check here. Nope. All good. Actually, has she gone to the mess hall, I wonder? Or the airlock? No. Alright, no worries. Alright, to the bridge. Time to report to the captain. Alright then, no sense in delaying seeing Captain Bartholomews. Lieutenant Araxis Denacia entering the bridge, all in a day's work. You declare, stepping from the elevator and throwing a salute. Looking around the room, you see Vanessa, who remains focused at her station, not paying you the slightest bit of attention, and Cassie, who stands from her station and comes over to you, a wide smile on her face. As you remain at attention, you notice that the captain's chair is empty. At ease, Lieutenant. Captain Bartholomews isn't with us, so I'm in charge of you today. Small tut comes from Vanessa. If Cassie heard it, she doesn't show it. Oh, is that right? I've come to make my report. That's right. Dr. Azarian advised me that she'd suddenly taken ill. Vanessa makes another, louder tutting noise. He pauses for a split second, but quickly carries on. Now, the doctor is such a gossip. So, he's ordered her to quarters for some bed rest. We're due to enter communications range with you, Brian, any moment now, and from there it's just a matter of coordinating our patrol paths. Nothing I can't handle. Ahem. Right. The security report, Lieutenant? Oh, yeah, of course. You clear your throat, feeling a bit awkward. Although you've been on the ship together for the past few days, you'd mainly seen each other between shifts, where rank didn't really mean much. Cassie acting seriously didn't really seem like Cassie at all. Security report for April 20... Oh. Excuse me. Alright. Security report for April 23rd, PC 214. No breaches or hazards to report, ma'am. No sign of immediate threats or security risks to the ship herself, and all shipboard operations proceeding as expected with little likelihood of disruption. Nothing? Well, the Chief has run into some feedback issues on the long-range communication system that are impacting the visuals on the long-range targeting system. It doesn't seem to be enough to stop normal operations though, and she's in the process of isolating the problem area to start repairs. Cadet Grange has also completed the system to load the high-density foam that he's developed into training rounds for the Juno's weapons. He's scheduled to have produced enough rounds for tests in time for the next training exercises. Oh, that's great! Good for him. But that's about it. Business as usual. Here's my written report. Reach into your jacket pocket and take hold of the written copy of your morning report, as well as a completed checklist. At the same time, you suddenly shift the chocolate bar underneath the pad of paper and Holding onto both, pull them out to present them to Cassie, the silent voice obscured by the documents. Hell yeah. Thank you, Lieutenant. Taking both off you, Cassie quickly realizes there's something in addition to the report and spots the chocolate bar underneath. Got an achievement for that sweet tooth. Give Cassandra a chocolate bar. Well, Lieutenant Denacia, it looks like you're continuing to perform above and beyond. Tell me though, do you have any experience with the Standard Communications Array? You pause for a moment, unsure at what Cassie is getting at. Everyone in the JCF has at least rudimentary knowledge of how to work a ship's communications array. Yes, ma'am. I've had the necessary training to operate the comm system aboard any JCF vessel. Great. Since Captain Bartholomew is ill, Vanessa and I are both pulling double shift to make sure there's cover on the bridge. It'll just be me on the night shift tonight. You won't mind helping me out by lending me a hand? As Cassie turns away with the documents in hand, she glances across to a display screen showing the time. Vanessa? Have you heard anything from the O'Brien? We're beyond the scheduled meetup window. Are we picking them up on sensors? There's nothing on sensors, Lieutenant Commander. Not that this interference is making things easy. I'll try scanning on different frequency bands in case the O'Brien is having the same issue. Vanessa begins to flip switches and twist dials, filling the quietness of the bridge with a series of noises that range from annoying buzzes to painfully shrill screeches. Alright, so got our ad break at the moment. So we'll take a brief pause here for our second ad break of the night, and then we will continue in a few minutes, alright? Be right back. Alright, we have returned. Let's get back to the Gundog, shall we? It's possible that the main plot might be picking up. Let's see if something's happened to the O'Brien. Something's probably happened to the O'Brien. Alright. After a few moments, a communication window on the main screen illuminates and a slightly distorted voice speaks. Do you read? We are at the rendezvous area and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Bashir of the JFS O'Brien. JFS Gundog, do you read? Alright, this is definitely Star Trek references right here. The O'Brien, Bashir. This is Deep Space Nine. Alright. We are at the rendezvous area and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. With Lieutenant Bashir from the O'Brien relatively clear on the communication window, Cassandra hastily grabs a microphone. Roger that, JFS O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JFS Gundog. We're picking up your signal and have arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates and mission update files now. It's good to finally... Lieutenant Bashir? Do you read? Vanessa, are you still getting a signal from the... The comms are being overloaded. There's a powerful signal coming in on all bands, and it's... What the hell just happened? Is everyone okay? Commander Quinn? Commander Quinn? Cassie! Even before your eyes adjust to the minimal lighting of the bridge, you kneel down and reach out into the darkness, trying to find where Cassie has collapsed onto the deck. You search blindly for a few seconds until your hand meets her shoulder and you move towards her. Cassie! Hey, Cassie! Say something! Cassie! Hang in there, Cassie. Lieutenant Lord, call sick bay and get the doctor up here right now. I can't. Why not? The ship's entire system has been knocked offline. Even the emergency backup systems. It's all offline. We don't have time for this. Get it back online. You rise quickly and dash over to the elevator, slamming your hand into the call button. I'm going to take Cassie down to the sick bay. You can... Aside from your voice, the whole room remains totally silent. Most conspicuously absent, though, is the whirring of the elevator that would take you directly to sick bay. You rapidly press the call button in frustration. Idiot! What part of offline do you not understand? Quinn's not going anywhere until at least the backup systems are online. That can't be done from the bridge. What do you mean? How do we get them back online? It's an emergency failsafe. If there's a critical failure with the central computer and it can't function properly, the entire ship will be shut down. Then it enters a lockdown mode until it can be rebooted. All areas are sealed in case the shutdown is the result of enemy action. The main computer in engineering needs to be physically rebooted to restore any sort of access. I mean, if the ship's in lockdown and the captain's in her quarters, potentially in lockdown as well, is she even going to be able to make it to the central computer to restart things? Of course, since this is a security system, you should know all of this. You grit your teeth to stop yourself snapping back at Vanessa. In the heat of the moment, all thought of process and procedure had left you completely. all you'd been thinking about was getting Cassie to sickbay. Placing your head in your hand, you pinch the bridge of your nose and try to focus. That's right. But isn't the order to reboot the central computer given from the bridge in that situation? Why did you say we can't? 2 reasons. First of all, this lockdown shouldn't affect backup systems. But for some reason, everything seems like it's offline, which means there's no internal communication system right now. Secondly, even if we did have the internal communication system, access to the central computer requires input codes which are known only by the captain. Or, in the event the captain is incapacitated, the second in command, which is Cassie. Vanessa turns to look at Cassandra, who shifts slightly. As she continues to talk, you head back to Cassie, kneeling beside her and placing her in the recovery position. Feeling the cold steel of the floor as you turn Cassie over, take off your uniform jacket and lay it over her, which currently would be Lieutenant Commander Quinn. Meaning that right now, both the people who know the necessary information to get the ship back up and running are out of action. There's got to be some way around all of this. Weren't you listening? This isn't supposed to happen. We should at least have the backup systems in place. Without them, there's nothing we can do except sit around and wait for the air to run out. What about the O'Brien? Can you contact them for support? Everything is offline. What part of this are you not getting? As you kneel over Cassie, your mind races through what Vanessa has just told you. You know that she's right, and that all the ship's emergency action plans revolve around the backup systems being operational, and without them online, there's next to nothing that can be done within the ship. Your mind catches on that point for a moment, and you can't help but wonder whether whoever wrote that plan was optimistic enough that they couldn't see a situation where the backups failed, or whether they were so pessimistic they felt if those systems were out of commission, there was no real hope for the crew either. Pushing that thought out of your head, you desperately try to figure out a way to get Cassie to the sickbay. It's got to be something you know about the ship that would help. In all your time you spent working as a security officer, there's got to be something that you've picked up that would... That's it! In the crew quarters, the panels by the bunks can be removed and replaced. People use the space in the structure to hide contraband. What are you talking about? The ship's maintenance crawlways are accessed in the same way. If I'm right, you head back over to the elevators, but this time, instead of trying to call them, you begin to run your hands over the seams in the wall panels on either side. Eventually, you notice a gap a few inches in length. Normally, maintenance would have a special tool to access this. You can do the same thing with... I know I've got it on me somewhere. Where is it? With the key card. You can jimmy that open. Taking your ID card out of your pocket, you slide it into the gap in the seam until it meets some resistance when it's about halfway in. You slide it up and down a few times until you feel it stick on something, at which point you push harder. Suddenly, you hear the sound of multiple catches disengaging, and a panel falls towards you. Taking the wall panel in both hands, you place it to the side of where it used to be attached. Now, instead of solid wall, you can just about make out an absence large enough for someone to fit inside, with a series of rungs heading downwards into a darkness, which opens up once they pass by where the elevator currently sits. How did you know how to do this? This is one of the first tricks you learn as a security officer. Ship crews get very creative with where they stash things. With these panels, it makes sense that the maintenance crawlways are accessed in a similar way. Well, great. Now you can crawl around the walls in the dark. Very helpful. You grit your teeth and breathe. You haven't talked to Vanessa much since you first met, but you're now beginning to understand why she always ate alone in the mess hall. I can get in up here. It means that I can get out down in the central hub. From there, I can see if I can get the emergency input codes from the captain and make contact with the chief in engineering. Do you really think you could solve this by clambering around inside the walls? Even if you can make it to the central hub, the rest of the ship will. Lieutenant Lord, would you... Let's not yell. Please keep your opinion to yourself. Thank you, Lieutenant Lord. You step back, barely suppressing your anger at her constant pessimism. But right now, I don't see many other options except for this one, and for all we know, we're the only people on the entire ship who might be able to do something. I'm not about to sit around and let everyone down. Not this time. So I'm going to leave you here to look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn, unless you have anything you want to try that you think might help. Vanessa stares at you for a moment, as if weighing up what the best put down for the current situation is. Instead, she heads back to her station and starts flicking switches and pressing buttons on her control panel. All right, you do that. I'll try to get the internal communication system working. Since the backups should work in a situation like this, maybe there's a way to get them back online. Get moving! Are you going to stand around and gawk whilst I get everything done myself? You inadvertently sigh loudly as you turn around and reach out into the crawl space, grabbing a rung and then placing your foot on one lower down. Hopefully I can get things back online with the chief and the captain's help. Just look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn until then. All right? Vanessa turns away from you, continuing to adjust the inputs on the communication system. Yeah, sure. With that, you lower yourself into the darkness, taking it one rung at a time. Once you're past the stationary elevator, you can feel the space you're in open up around you. Carrying on downwards, you reach behind you every so often to see if you can feel the catch system that would keep an access panel attached. After a few attempts to find it, your fingers eventually brush over a catch, and with some coercion, you manage to get it to release, causing the whole panel to fall off the wall behind you and clatter onto the floor of the central hub. As you step out of the crawlway, a loud banging starts from nearby. You immediately reorient yourself to face the room, placing your hand on your electroshock weapon just in case. As you scan the room in the dim lighting, the banging continues, and you realize it's not coming from anywhere in the central hub, but one of the elevators. With your hand still hovering over your weapon, you slowly move towards the noise, trying to make as little sound as possible, hoping that whoever or whatever is making it doesn't know you're there. Despite the darkness, you can see that the elevator doors are open slightly, with an inch or so gap between the two doors. As you angle yourself to try and see what's inside, your question is answered. Hey! Who's out there? Whoever you are! Help me get these stupid doors open! The whole thing's jammed! Of course it's Hanson. You pause for a moment. You haven't seen Hanson since the other day outside your quarters. I know you're out there! I heard you! Get over here and help me get these doors open! Hey, what are you waiting around for? As Hanson continues to call out, you size up the situation. With the darkness of the room, you could easily come and go without him being able to tell that it's you. On top of that, it's unlikely that he'd be able to force open the elevator doors on his own. Hey, come on! This isn't funny! Who's out there? Stop jerking me around! It's petty, but part of you almost relishes the idea of Hanson seeing how it feels to be trapped and unable to do anything. Haru? If you're messing with me, I'll kick your ass! He's a member of the crew, and as a security officer, it's your role to keep them all safe, regardless of how much of a dick they might be. You take a deep breath and help him open the doors. We're professionals here. We're not just going to leave him locked in there. Hold for a second before releasing one long, constant sigh. Hey, I heard you! I know you're there! Get me out! Alright, Ensign. I'll take the door on the right, you take the door on the left. On the count of 3, we pull. Great! Everyone on board, and it's a Khalit coward. I figured you'd stop by here, find a nice little space to crawl up and hide in. Helping me out so we can trade places, and you can ride it out until the action's over. You immediately begin to regret your decision. Cruz, do you want to get out of there or not? Whatever. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3! The two of you both heave against the elevator's doors, which shift slightly, but not enough for Hanson to get out. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3! This time, the doors yield a little more to your efforts. After you open a few more inches, you step back and catch your breath, and watch as Hanson sticks his arm through the gap, but struggles to get any further than that. Once more and we should have you out of there. Shame your girlfriend isn't here. At least she's got a backbone she could be putting into this. You freeze for a moment, as all of your muscles stiffen reflexively, and a wave of anger flows through you. Excuse me, Ensign? You heard me. She's the one of you with any stones. If she hadn't been there to save you the other day, You'd have what? Think hard about your answer, Ensign. Give me the wrong answer, and you can try and squeeze that thick skull of yours through that gap without any more of my help. Get it. That's what I thought. Now get ready. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3! It takes the two of you a few attempts, but finally you manage to push the doors open to the point where Hanson can make his way through the gap between the two of them. Free of the elevator, Hanson dusts himself down and looks around whilst adjusting his jacket. So, what the hell's going on? What's happened to the ship? Why has everything stopped working? There should be backups or something, right? You pause for a moment. Despite having been on the bridge when everything went wrong, you probably have as much of an idea as Hanson would. Honestly, I've got no idea. I was on the bridge when it all happened. We made contact with the O'Brien. There was this flash. Then Commander Quinn had been knocked out. All the systems were offline, even the backups. I managed to get off the bridge using the maintenance crawlway. Now we're trying to figure out a way to reboot the computer to get everything back online. Just great. Knew this ship was a piece of junk the moment I stepped on board. You said you guys had a plan to get things up and running, yeah? Yeah. Kinda. Great. You can handle that. I'm gonna go check on the crew. Have you seen Haru? No, I haven't run into them. Okay then. I'll try their quarters. With that, Hanson heads into the darkness towards the Foreside thoroughfare. He stops briefly, turning to face you. Lieutenant. Hmm? Thanks. Or whatever. The pilot quickly turns on his heels and disappears into the darkness. Don't mention it. Alright, so find a way to reactivate the gun dog. How's the doctor going in sickbay, by the way? Elevators are out of action right now. Hans and I managed to force the doors open, but I shouldn't to go inside. Knowing how these things work out, the doors would shut on me once I got inside or something. Elevators are still out of action. This isn't taking me anywhere. Move to the aft thoroughfare, Forsyth thoroughfare. The elevators are clearly out of action. I have to get things back up and running before I can get Cassie to the sick bay. Alright. Next up... am I able to get to the airlock? Double check on things here. As you enter, the airlock hatch door looms large in the darkness. A shiver runs through you and you rub your forearms. It wasn't something you'd notice until now, but as you feel the goosebumps that cover your skin, you realize that the ship's temperature has now dropped noticeably. Gotta find a way to get things up and running again. Emergency spacesuits for use in the event of ship depressurization, failure with the life support systems, or if the crew have to abandon ship. I can get this solved without needing the extra air supply. Wait, I've just changed the batteries on these to make sure the radios work in an emergency. Someone on board might have had the same idea with the suits in their department. Let's see. That's sort of what I was thinking as well. The short-range radios in these might work. You grab the handle of the suit's container and twist. The metal in your hand is noticeably colder to the touch than it was the last time you were here. Once the lock is undone, you open the door and, bracing the suit with your left hand, grab the radio with your right. As you disconnect the radio unit from the breast panel, the spiraling plastic cord that connects it to the suit comes with it. Turning the radio in your hand, you find where the cord connects and unscrew the attachment point, allowing the cable to spring back towards the suit. You quickly extend the telescoping antenna and flick the power switch, which causes the sound of whining static to fill the previously silent room. You slowly rotate the tuning dial, working your way through the frequencies, until a familiar voice comes out from the tinny speaker. An emergency broadcast from Chief Engineer Mackenzie Cathays on the JFS Gundog to any JFS Gundog crew members or any JCF ships nearby. The Gundog has suffered a complete systems failure, and assistance is needed to get them back online. I repeat, this is an emergency broadcast from Chief Engineer Mackenzie Cathays on the JFS Gundog to any JFS Gundog crew members or any JCF ships nearby. The Gundog has suffered a complete systems failure, and assistance is needed to get them back online. Chief, this is Lieutenant Denacia reading you loud and clear. I've managed to get an emergency raid here from one of the suits in the airlock. I'm able to get around the thoroughfares and to the bridge, but I can't get anywhere else. Took you long enough. What the hell's everyone been doing this whole time? You're just about to push the button to send your response, but the chief cuts in. Anyway, you're in touch now. That's what counts. You said you could get to the bridge. Is that right? That's right. Then get back up there and get the captain to give me the input codes to access the main computer so that I can get the ship running again. Slight complication, Chief. The captain's taken sick. She's not on the bridge. Classic Barter news. And get back up there and get Lieutenant Commander Quinn to give me the input codes. She's out of commission too. She collapsed at the same time the ship's power went out. You release your thumb, allowing the chief to broadcast. But where you expected a swiftly delivered alternative, all you get is radio static. Chief? Nothing's ever easy, huh, Lieutenant? Who's currently on the bridge, then? That'd be Lieutenant Lord. Well, she's the commanding officer on board right now, I guess. You're going to want to get up there. I've got an idea, but it's not something I can authorize. Your grip on the radio tightens as a sense of apprehension grows within you. You don't know what the chief has in mind, but if it requires the authority of the ship's senior officer, you know that it's got to be something dangerous. Realizing you've been holding your breath since the chief's last message, you breathe out and push the button on the radio's side to send your message. Copy that, Chief. Heading up there now. Radio in hand, you quickly make your way back from the airlock into the central hub, and then head straight to the maintenance crawlway. It only takes you a moment of groping around in the darkness to find a ladder rung before you're on your way back up to the bridge. As you climb, each rung that you grip is cold to the touch, and the air that you breathe has a brisk chill to it. You know what this means, but for the time being, decide to push that thought out of your head. You've got other things to focus on. The climb up seems a lot shorter than your original climb down, and you soon emerge back on the bridge. Vanessa swivels in her chair and paces over to you. So, you get in touch with anyone? Kind of. You bring the radio up to your face so that the microphone is level with your mouth and press the push-to-talk button with your thumb. Chief, I'm back on the bridge with Lieutenant Lord. Releasing the button, you walk past Vanessa, handing the radio over to her before heading towards Cassie. Vanessa looks from you to the radio with mild bewilderment before the chief's voice sounds out from the speaker. Lieutenant Lord, this is Chief Engineer Cathays. You read. As you kneel down by Cassie to check her pulse and temperature, as well as doing your best to tuck your jacket around her, the way the chief addresses Vanessa catches your attention. You hadn't heard the chief being that deferential towards anyone, even the captain. I hear you, Chief Cathays. Captain Bartomuse and Captain Quinn are both incapacitated, so I'm in command of the Gundog until such a time as they can return to duty. Understood? You frown slightly, hearing Vanessa assert her position over the chief like that. Although she is the ranking officer in this situation, you'd not heard anyone on board pull rank in that way, especially on the chief, who you were under the impression enjoyed the respect of everyone on board, including Hanson and Haru. Yes, ma'am. Good. Now, have you got a plan, Chief Cathays? Or has Lieutenant Denacia brought me this radio so we can have a chat about how nothing's working on your end either? As you stand and turn to face Vanessa, you catch the last few moments of a distasteful look she'd been making at you, whilst your back was turned, and do your best to bite your tongue. Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Denacia has explained to me that both the captain and Commander Quinn are out of action. So I'm aware neither one of them will be able to give me the input codes required to reactivate the central computer. We know that, Cathays. What's the solution? The only hope we've got right now is that the captain has copies of the documents that contain the access codes in her quarters. If someone can get in there, then they can get the codes and tell them to me, letting me reactivate the ship's systems. If we'd been able to get into the captain's quarters, we'd have done that already. The whole ship's in lockdown and there's no way to get in there. You notice the slightest pause before the chief responds. You could be projecting. You get the impression that she's just as fed up as you are. Not quite, ma'am. Although all the terminals and most of the hardware on the ship is dependent on the central computer, we've got a tool that we use when something needs to be disconnected from the system. We use it for the maintenance or debugging, the PST or portable subterminal. It's effectively a standalone power pack with a microcomputer built in that provides enough power to activate the hardware attached to a terminal. It'll let us get into the captain's quarters, and then from there we can get the codes to start the computer back up. So, where is this PST? It's in the hangar. We can't get in the hangar either! I know you're stuck in engineering cafes, but the story's the same for the entire ship! Another silence follows, longer this time. That's true if you're trying to get to the hangar from inside the ship, ma'am. The Gundog has two entrances that can be activated entirely manually. The main onboarding airlock and the hangar crew airlock. If someone left the ship via the onboarding airlock, they could make their way to the crew airlock for the hangar and re-enter there. Then, they get the PST and make their way through the ship as normal. I see. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Engineer Cathays, but aren't yourself and Cadet Grange the only crew on board qualified for extravehicular activity in space? And you're currently stuck in engineering, whilst we can't get in contact with Cadet Grange to just bring us the PST? Yes, ma'am. You begin to feel a knot in your gut, and internally curse at Dalton for not having picked up enough of the Chief's know-how to have found an emergency radio on his own. And policy dictates that all EVA needs to be commanded by an operations officer. The knot in your stomach tightens as you take a deep breath in. Vanessa's eyes are now locked on you. Yes, ma'am. The slightest hint of a smile forms on Vanessa's face. Well, Lieutenant, it looks like you're going for a walk. You'd seen this coming as soon as the Chief had begun outlining the plan. But you'd been hoping that there'd be some extra part that hadn't been revealed yet. Something that would allow you to stay on board. Faced with Vanessa's directness, the knot in your stomach tightens further. A sense of nausea rises from your gut. I mean, someone's got to do it, right? Some people took well the spacewalks. Some even enjoyed them so much that taken on careers in colony construction and repair, where they'd spend more time in the vacuum of space than they did inside the colony or on ships. You were not one of those people. You'd only ever left the confines of a ship or colony a few times in your life, and almost all of those had been evacuation drills that you'd been through in school or during citizenry courses. On every occasion that you could remember, you'd reacted badly, but managed to keep it to yourself. Something about being out in the void, an attachment clip or handrail away from drifting off into the endless nothingness of space, had always filled you with dread. The knowledge that you were a slip away from disappearing forever, irretrievable and helpless. But despite all that, you knew full well from Vanessa's discussion with the Chief that there was not going to be any way around doing this, and right now, you were this ship's, Cassie's, only hope. As much as you hated the thought of it, you pushed back against the fear that had been rising up inside you. Taking a deep breath, you resigned yourself what you had to do. Fine. I'll do it. The chief can walk me through everything that I need to know on my way over to the airlock. The dashing security officer diving headfirst into danger. Aren't they great, Lieutenant Commander Quinn? So selfless. Excuse me for a second. Okay. Vanessa rolls her eyes, covering her mouth with the back of her hand and putting on a mocking tone. This is really helpful, you know? Oh, my hero. So brave going into space to save us. Only you can. Snatch the radio off Vanessa and turn your back on her, heading towards the maintenance crawlway. At this point, you've had just about all you can take of her, so the sooner the situation is resolved, you decide, the sooner you can go back to avoiding her. Oh, quit making a big deal of this with all your huffing and puffing, Lieutenant Denacia. From what I've heard, hanging out in space is something of a pastime of yours. Not you. With that comment, you feel like your heart's dropped out of your chest. You quickly spin back to face Vanessa. Lieutenant? Reining in the flash of anger you just felt, you silently shake your head as you turn back around and grab a hold of the first rung of the crawlway's ladder. Chief? I'm on my way to the airlock now. Walk me through what I need to know. Wait! With one hand still on the ladder's rung, you pause and turn around. Yes, Lieutenant Lord? You just about managed to ask through gritted teeth. Don't you think you're forgetting something? Doing your best to suppress the urge to scream that you can feel building up inside your chest, you pause for a moment and stare at Lieutenant Lord, trying to puzzle out what kind of mind game she's playing. Lieutenant Lord, if there's... Before you finished, Vanessa rolls her eyes and turns on her heels, walking back over to Cassandra and squatting down. You almost yell out when Vanessa lays her hand on Cassie's hip, but you stop when you see her withdraw a keycard from Cassie's skirt pocket. Holding it between her thumb and forefinger with a flourish, she waves it at you as she stands up and walks back over to you. The central computer can only be accessed by the captain or members of operations. Good luck getting in there without this. Vanessa casually tosses you the card which you grab out of the air. Okay, got Cassandra's keycard? You turn the card over in your hand a few times before pocketing it. But the chief said that the PST uses battery power to open. I can see what you and her see in each other. As if hooking a battery up to a door would get you around the ship's security systems. You're still going to need to have the right authority levels to get through. Honestly. At this point, your jaw is clenched so hard it feels like your teeth may crack at any second. But with the cold chill of the ladder rung reminding you just how dire the situation is getting, you turn back around. Thank you, Lieutenant. You just about managed. Still there, Chief? I'm heading to the airlock now. Have you got the radio coming through the helmet speakers, Lieutenant? The Chief's voice fills your helmet. The sound quality is somehow worse than the speaker on the main radio unit yourself. Loud and clear, Chief. You respond, securing the radio on the suit's breast panel. You've got the emergency suit on and sealed? Yeah. Currently breathing in the suit's oxygen supply. What now? Do you see the access panel next to the internal airlock hatch? Spacesuit's helmet is attached to the rest of the suit in a fixed position, so although you turn your head to check, all you can see is the helmet's interior. You turn your whole body in an exaggerated motion to look for the emergency access panel and spot it on the other side of the hatch. I see it, Chief. I'm heading over now. Alright. You need to remove the panel in the same way that you did the one on the bridge. Once you've got it off, you'll see a large handle. Cranking that lever operates the manual override that will open the hatch to the airlock. Understood. Though you had to learn to operate the airlock manually in basic training, you didn't feel that now was the time to dismiss the Chief and act like a know-it-all. She was likely getting her fill of that from Lieutenant Lord. Alright. You kneel down by the panel and attempt to find the gap between its edge and the surrounding wall. This is made a lot harder by the thick material of your suit. After a few attempts to find it, the tips of your gloves catch in the recess. You work your digits in more until you find a catch that you can squeeze. The panel falls away from the wall, and you take hold of it, placing it to the side. Underneath is a long handle marked Emergency Use Only. Yeah, this is an emergency. Alright. That's the access panel out of the way. I see the handle. Good. Now, you're going to want to turn it counterclockwise and keep going until the hatch is open. Understood. Placing your left hand at the bottom of the handle and your right hand at the top, you apply as much force as you can to push it clockwise. Your initial heave barely moves it despite your effort. Grip the handle again and place your entire body weight behind your effort to shift it. This time, it moves more noticeably, but when you look at the airlock hatch, it doesn't appear to have opened at all. I mean, you're turning it the wrong way, buddy. With another grunt, you push the lever the full 90 degrees, allowing it to return to its neutral position. Though it still resists you, you're able to feel the ratchet mechanisms begin to move. I've been thinking about this kind of giving you similar vibe feelings to World of Horror, expecting aliens to show up. And losing power in space, absolutely scary. Like there's a reason why space horror is a thing, absolutely. Like, you can do a lot with, like, having to live in an enclosed environment where mechanical systems are the only thing keeping you alive and separated from the void of space that will kill a person instantly, or close enough to instant. And the sound effects are a little bit World of Horror as well, with like the what is it, like 8-bit sound effects or something, like the beeps and bloops. Nothing's... You push the handle 90 degrees again before letting it reset. You adjust your grip and push the handle again. Easy! You complain through gritted teeth as you feel the mechanism slowly but surely moving a little bit each time. As you carry on this process of straining against the mechanism, you complete crank after crank. You can hear the mechanism of the airlock groan and strain with each turn. Speaking of enclosed environments, this is why undersea environments are scary as well. Whether they're like submarines or underwater facilities. Ever-17 is one of my favorite visual novels of all time. And surprisingly enough, is getting a Steam release soon. So check that out, alright? I absolutely love Ever 17, to the point I have a physical copy of the English version of it that I bought for like $200 or something like that on eBay. Because this game had a very limited print run, and like hardly exists anywhere. So like I'm really glad that they're releasing a Steam version of it, so that people will be able to play it again. The original translation of it was pretty bad, unfortunately. I understand that the new translation from previews also has some issues. Like, there is a character called Kid in it, and apparently whoever was doing the editing for it just did like copy-paste job and like had every instance of the word kid be capitalized. So even if you're not talking about kid, like it's capitalized in there, so that's unfortunate. Don't do stupid things like that if you're an editor. Probably it might mean that they had like an amount of like a time crunch on there. I don't know. Like, I try to be understanding of what's going on, but still, like, that feels like an easy one to realize that you can't just cheap out on that and be lazy. I still recommend the game regardless. Uchikoshi worked on that game, famous for such games as 999 and AI The Somnium Files. So playing that, I think you would be able to get like a good idea of like his early works. Eventually, something gives and the mechanisms of the airlock uncouple, releasing their locks and the whole thing slides open. Not things, thing. Airlock time. High risk zone. You can feel the sweat on your brow and curse that you put the suit on beforehand, preventing you from wiping it off. Okay, Chief. I'm heading into the airlock chamber. What's next? You'll see a similar panel on the opposite end of the hatch inside the chamber. Same deal, but in reverse. Makes sense. Okay. Once inside the airlock chamber, you spot an identical access panel and quickly get to work. Unfortunately, it's just as hard to close the hatch as it was to open it. The interior hatch is closed. Now what? You try to keep your breathing under control as the inside of your helmet begins to heat up, reminding you of another reason you've never been fond of them. What you're going to need to do next will be to vent the air in the chamber and then open the exterior hatch. To start with, the Chief walks you step by step through the processes required. Although you remember most of this from training, you're thankful for the help, as a few parts had slipped your mind. You carry on following the Chief's orders until, one final monumental heave, you get the external hatch open. You step away from the lever and head over to the opening. Seeing the stars in front of you, rather than through a terminal or view screen, fills you with the familiar dread you felt on the bridge. Alright, Chief. I'm heading out. Pressing firmly on a switch on the suit's breast panel, you hear a momentary high-pitched whine as the soles of the boots are drawn towards the airlock floor. the electromagnet's now active. Each step is an effort. But at least you know you won't go hurtling into space. Alright. So, looking at the time, I think here is a good dramatic moment to leave the stream off on, don't you think? So, we'll hold off here for the night and wrap things up. All right. Yeah, this is a whole lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where things proceed from there. Now, as for what we're doing for the rest of the week, no stream tomorrow, but assuming I'm feeling healthy enough, there will be a stream on Thursday where I will be doing some more Gundog. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, I'm starting to feel a little bit under the weather. I feel like I might have accidentally caught something off of my stepdad. He brought back a... he caught the flu while on holiday, came back early, which is why I'm sort of at home early as well. And, like, we didn't sort of, like, spend much contact with each other, but, I'm feeling like a flu is coming on, unfortunately. So, we're going to, like, as if I feel good, I'll stream. If not, I'll take the day off. So again, if I'm feeling good by the weekend, we'll be doing Super Robot Wars X, and yeah, look forward to that, everyone. Anyway, we are going to go and raid someone, and I think we are going to go and raid Purizu, who is doing a modeling stream. So let's pop in over there and go say hello, shall we? Alright. So, thank you very much as always, and I hope to see you all next time. Alright? See ya!